He is the ghost of Mulholland Drive, the unofficial mayor of Hollywood's most infamous ridge, living in a sprawling compound that includes the land where his friend and fellow Titan, Marlon Brando, once lived. For over 50 years, Jack Nicholson was more than a movie star. He was an event, a cultural force of nature. His iconic grin, a flash of danger and delight, his menacing eyebrows, capable of conveying more than a page of dialogue, and that dangerously charming, seductive voice defined generations of cinema. Then, after his final film role in 2010, he simply vanished. As of 2025, it has been 15 years since he last appeared on screen. There was no farewell tour, no grand final role, just a deafening silence from one of Hollywood's loudest personalities. Why did Jack Nicholson, arguably the greatest and most electrifying actor of his generation, suddenly and completely disappear from our screens? The answer is a puzzle, hidden within a life that began with a shocking family secret, was defined by an unparalleled exploration of on-screen madness, and was fueled by a private life far more chaotic, hedonistic, and turbulent than any movie he ever made. The key to understanding the enigma of Jack Nicholson, to unlocking the man behind the iconic sunglasses, lies in a secret he didn't even know himself for the first 37 years of his life. He grew up in a working-class home in Neptune City, New Jersey, believing his loving grandmother, Ethel May, was his mother. He believed the vibrant, creative woman he knew as his older sister, June, was just that. His sister. It was a carefully constructed family lie, a fortress built of love and desperation to protect him and the family's reputation in a less forgiving time. The devastating truth was that June was his biological mother. She had become pregnant at just 17 while working as an unmarried showgirl with dreams of dancing on the big screen. To avoid the crushing scandal and social ruin of the 1930s, her parents made the difficult decision to raise Jack as their own son. The secret was flawlessly kept for decades until 1974. By this point, Nicholson was at the absolute peak of his fame, the star of Chinatown and a counterculture icon. A diligent researcher for a Time magazine cover story on him was digging through public records and uncovered the truth. Unsure of what to do with this life-altering information, the reporter called Jack directly to verify it. In that single, surreal phone call, Nicholson's entire world, the very foundation of his identity, was shattered. Both June and Ethel May had already passed away, so he could never confront them or hear the story from their perspective. He later reflected on the moment with his signature, detached cool, stating, "I'd say it was a pretty dramatic event, but it wasn't what I'd call traumatizing. After all, by the time I found out who my mother was, I was old enough to be her father." This response, a mix of shock and dark humor, perfectly captured the persona he had built. But how could it not have shaped him? He was a man who discovered his entire life had been a performance, a secret kept by the people he loved most. It is perhaps no coincidence that he became the world's greatest actor at playing characters with fractured identities, men who were not what they seemed. This revelation perhaps explains his magnetic pull towards characters who live outside the lines. He began his career in the B-movie world of producer Roger Corman, but it was his role as the drunken, charismatic lawyer George Hansen in the 1969 counterculture classic Easy Rider that truly put him on the map. He got the part at the last minute after actor Rip Torn dropped out, and his largely improvised, scene-stealing performance earned him his first Oscar nomination. It announced the arrival of a new kind of movie star, a cynical, rebellious anti-hero who was infinitely more interesting than the clean-cut leading men of the past. He owned the 1970s, a decade many consider the last golden age of Hollywood filmmaking. He delivered a string of legendary performances in films like The Last Detail and Roman Polanski's neo-noir masterpiece Chinatown. In Five Easy Pieces, his famous chicken salad sandwich scene, where he defiantly orders toast as a side dish, became an anthem for anti-establishment frustration. But it was his role as the rebellious Randall P. McMurphy in 1975's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest that cemented his status as a cultural icon. The production itself was legendary. Filmed in a real Oregon mental hospital with actual patients and staff as extras, Nicholson fully immersed himself in the role. To capture McMurphy's defiant spirit, he reportedly stayed in character for much of the shoot, even getting into disputes with the director, Milos Forman, to create genuine on-set tension. His battle against the tyrannical nerd Nurse Ratched was a battle for the soul of a generation, and it won him his first, well-deserved Academy Award for Best Actor after 4 previous nominations. As his fame grew, he was drawn to roles that explored the darkest corners of the human psyche. His portrayal of Jack Torrance in Stanley Kubrick's The Shining is not just a performance, it is a masterclass in cinematic madness. To get into character, he would listen to dissonant, unsettling music, and he famously ad-libbed the film's most iconic line, "Here's Johnny," a twisted take on Ed McMahon's introduction from The Tonight Show. The terrifying, unhinged energy he brought to the screen was so convincing that it blurred the line between the actor and the character, leaving audiences worldwide profoundly disturbed. Years later, he would bring that same chaotic, sinister energy to the role of the Joker in Tim Burton's Batman. His larger-than-life performance, a perfect blend of vaudevillian humor and psychotic menace, captivated the world. It was also a business masterstroke. Nicholson took a pay cut in exchange for a percentage of the film's gross and merchandise, a deal that reportedly earned him over $60 million in 1989. This exploration of madness wasn't limited to monsters. In A Few Good Men, his explosive portrayal of Colonel Nathan Jessup gave cinema one of its most quoted lines, "You can't handle the truth." In just 2 scenes and a few minutes of screen time, he completely dominated the film and earned another Oscar nomination. But the madness he perfected on screen was fueled by a private life that was just as wild. His house on Mulholland Drive became the stuff of Hollywood legend, known for its wild parties and hedonistic atmosphere, with Nicholson presiding over it all as its charming, unpredictable king. His reputation as the Hollywood Wolf was well earned, with a string of high-profile romances and a deeply unapologetic approach to his desires. But his most significant, passionate, and ultimately devastating relationship was with actress Angelica Houston. For 17 years, from 1973 to 1990, they were one of Hollywood's most iconic and volatile couples, a magnetic on-again, off-again saga. Houston, the daughter of film royalty, was one of the few women who could match his intensity and intellect. Their love story was legendary, filled with passion and collaboration. He starred in Preezy's Honor, the film that won her an Oscar, but it was also marked by Nicholson's constant and painful infidelities. In her candid memoir, Watch Me, Houston wrote of their final brutal conversation. He had invited her to dinner to tell her something important. She recalled him saying, with a detached coolness, "Someone is gonna have a baby." That someone was actress Rebecca Broussard. The affair and the pregnancy marked the final, unforgivable betrayal for Houston, ending their epic romance and cementing Nicholson's reputation as a man who lived by his own rules, no matter who got hurt. This pattern defined much of his life, resulting in a complex family tree of at least 5 children with 4 different women outside of his only marriage. This brings us to the central mystery of his later years, his vanishing act. After his role in the 2010 romantic comedy How Do You Know, a film that was a critical and commercial failure, the roles just stopped. The greatest actor of his generation went silent. For years, rumors have swirled that he was forced into retirement by memory loss, that the man who had mastered thousands of pages of complex dialogue could no longer remember his lines. Close friends have repeatedly and vehemently denied this. The alternative is perhaps even more fascinating. In past interviews, Nicholson himself spoke about losing the fire in the belly for acting. Is it possible that the man who conquered Hollywood simply got bored? That after decades of playing the game, of being Jack, he decided to cash in his chips and enjoy the vast fortune and private life he had built? His final films, like The Bucket List, dealt with themes of mortality and legacy, perhaps offering a clue to his mindset. The truth remains a mystery, another secret in a life full of them, his absence creating a void in an industry that has never quite found a replacement for his unique brand of dangerous charisma. In his years of quiet reflection, one friendship has stood out as a testament to the respect shared between 2 Hollywood giants, his bond with the late Robin Williams. They were titans of different worlds, 2 sides of the same artistic coin. Nicholson's power came from what he held back, the menace simmering just beneath the surface, the power of the pause. Williams' power came from what he let loose, a torrential, unstoppable storm of comedic genius and improvisation. Nicholson has spoken about the awe he felt watching Williams work, recognizing a kind of raw, untamable magic that was completely different from his own controlled craft. He saw beyond the whirlwind of comedy to the profound sensitivity that lay beneath. He once reflected that Williams' deep feeling was both his gift and his burden, a poignant observation about the price of such immense talent. When the news of Robin's passing shook the world in 2014, it was a loss Nicholson felt felt deeply. He described it as a light going out, a reminder that even the brightest spirits are fragile. In his friend, he saw an extraordinary and generous spirit, a man who gave everything he had to his audience and his friends, and whose absence left an unfillable void. Today, Jack Nicholson lives a quiet life in his castle on Mulholland Drive, a living legend who has outlasted nearly all of his peers. He is occasionally seen courtside at a Lakers game, a ghost of a bygone Hollywood era, his rare public appearances causing a frenzy of excitement and speculation. He is the man who was born from a secret, who became a star by playing outsiders and Mad Men, who broke hearts with the casual charm of a wolf, and who then chose to write his own mysterious final act. With a record-setting 12 Oscar nominations for an actor, his legacy is etched in cinematic history, a gallery of unforgettable characters that will be watched and studied for centuries. Unlike those characters whose fates were sealed by a script, Jack Nicholson's ending remains unwritten, a silent performance that leaves the world to simply stand in awe of the legend he created.